Module 6, Lesson 1, Physical Geography of the United States. Location, location, location. If you won the lottery and were looking to buy a country to live in, the first one the real estate agent would show you would be the United States of America. It's in a wonderful neighborhood, the views are marvelous, and there are some terrific water features. The transport links are excellent, and the neighbors? The neighbors are great, no trouble at all. If you broke this living space up into numerous sections, it would considerably lower the value, especially if the tenants didn't all speak the same language and pay rent in different currencies. But as one home for one family, it can't be better. There are 50 American states, but they add up to one nation in a way in which 28 sovereign nations of the European Union never could. Painting this vast country in bold, broad brushstrokes from east to west, you can divide into three. First, there's the East Coast Plain leading to the Appalachian Mountains, an area well watered by short but navigatable rivers and with fertile soil. Then heading farther west, you have the Great Plains stretching all the way to the Rocky Mountains, and within this section lies the Mississippi Basin, with its network of huge navigable rivers flowing into the Mississippi River all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, which is sheltered by the peninsula of Florida and several islands. Once over the massive mountain range, that is the Rockies, you get to the desert, the Sierra Nevada mountains, and a narrow coastal plain, to finally the shores of the Pacific Ocean. This is truly from sea to shining sea. Let's delve in. Physical features. The United States is the third largest country in the world, behind Russia and Canada. Our country is home to an incredible variety of physical features. All but 2 of the 50 states, Alaska and Hawaii, make up the main part of the country. Looking at the physical map, of the United States, it shows the main physical features of our country. Use the map as you go through learning about America's physical geography in the east and south, the interior plains, and the west. The east and south. If you are traveling across the United States, you might start in the country's eastern coast. This low area, which is flat and close to sea level, is called the Atlantic Coastal Plain. As you go west, the land gradually rises higher to a region called the Piedmont. That is this light green area. The Appalachian Mountains, which are the main mountain range in the east, rise above the Piedmont. These mountains are very old and smooth. And have smoothed their peaks because for millions of years, rain, snow, and wind have eroded those said peaks. As a result, the highest mountain in the Appalachians is about 6,700 feet. Another coastal plain that's located in the south is the Gulf Coastal Plain. It too is about sea level, and it stretches from the southern part of Texas all the way across to Florida and as far north as Arkansas. The interior plains. As you travel west from the Appalachians, you come across the vast interior plains that stretch to the Great Plains just east of the Rocky Mountains. The interior plains are filled with hills, lakes, and rivers. The first major water feature that you will see here is called the Great Lakes. These lakes make up the largest group of freshwater lakes in the world. The Great Lakes are also an important waterway for trade between the United States and Canada. West of the Great Lakes lies North America's largest and most important river, the Mississippi River. Tributaries in the interior plains flow to the Mississippi. A tributary is a smaller stream or river that flows into a larger stream or river. Along the way, the rivers deposit rich silt. The silt creates fertile farmlands that cover most of the interior plains. The Missouri and Ohio rivers are huge tributaries of the Mississippi. They help drain the entire interior plains. Here is a picture of what the Mississippi River Delta looks like when it actually flows into the Gulf of Mexico. An aerial view. The Great Plains. If we look at the physical map of the United States, you'll notice that the land begins to increase in elevation west of the interior plains. This higher region is called the Great Plains. Vast areas of grassland cover these plains. There are fewer rivers and not very many trees. The West. In the region called the West, several of the country's most rugged mountain ranges make up the Rocky Mountains. These enormous mountains, also called the Rockies, stretch as far as you can see. Many of the mountain's jagged peaks rise above 14,000 feet. The Rockies are more jagged than the Appalachian Mountains because they are younger and haven't eroded as much. In the Rocky Mountains is a line of high peaks called the Continental Divide. A continental divide is an area of high ground that divides the flow of rivers toward opposite ends of a continent. Rivers east of the divide in the Rockies mostly flow eastward and empty into the Mississippi River. Most of the rivers west of the divide flow westward and empty into the Pacific Ocean. Farther west, mountain ranges include the Cascade Range and the Sierra Nevada. Most of the mountains in the Cascades are dormant volcanoes. One mountain, Mount St. Helens, is an active volcano. A tremendous eruption in 1980 blew off the mountain's peak and destroyed 150 square miles of forest. Mountains also stretch north along the Pacific coast. At 20,310 feet, Alaska's Denali, which used to be known as Mount McKinley, is the highest mountain in North America. Alaska is home to 39 mountain ranges and 17 out of 20 of the tallest peaks in the United States. Some of its mountains are active volcanoes. Far out in the Pacific Ocean are the islands that make up the state of Hawaii. Volcanoes formed these islands millions of years ago. Today, hot lava and ash continue to erupt from the island's volcanoes. Climate. Did you know that the United States has a greater variety of climates than any other country? Look at the map of the United States climate to see the different climates in the United States. We have everything from humid tropical all the way to tundra. East and south. The eastern United States has 3 climate regions. In the Northeast, people live in a humid continental climate with snowy winters and warm, humid summers. Southerners, on the other hand, experience milder winters and warm, humid summers of a humid subtropical climate. Most of Florida is warm all year. The interior plains. Temperatures throughout the year can vary greatly in the interior plains. Summers are hot and dry in the Great Plains. However, most of the region has a humid continental climate with long, cold winters. And the West. Climates in the West are mostly dry. The Pacific Northwest coast, however, has a wet, mild coastal climate. The region's coldest climates are in Alaska, which has both subarctic and tundra climates. In contrast, Hawaii is the only state with a warm, tropical climate.